Watershed is a geohydrological unit which drains to a common point on a natural drainage system. Watershed management is the harmonious management of natural resources, that is land, water and vegetation, human resource and livestock. Strategy for agricultural development in the first 2 decades after independence hinged on large-scale development of irrigation. This was a necessity as irrigation was a limiting factor for the new agricultural production system incorporating high-yielding varieties, the success of which led to the Green Revolution and resulted in India achieving a status of food self-sufficiency. Strategy of the Green Revolution with the high-yielding varieties obviously only benefited areas within the river plains and ushered in prosperity for the farmers there. This led to grave regional disparities between river plains region and the upper watershed areas which were not able to reap the benefits of the revolution in agricultural practices. A series of severe droughts in the 1960s and 1970s necessitated the urgency of thinking at the highest political levels and called for a more balanced growth strategy which would address regional disparities and skewed distribution of natural resources. The Watershed Development Program was thus conceived to address these national issues and concerns. Drought Prone Areas Program (DPAP) was launched in 1973-74 to tackle the special problems faced by the areas which are constantly affected by severe drought conditions. Presently, 972 blocks of 195 districts in 16 states are covered under the program. Since 1995-96 till 2006-2007, 27,439 projects covering an area of 13.72 million hectare has been sanctioned. Desert Development Program (DDP) was started in the year 1977-78 both in the hot and cold desert areas in the country. Presently, 235 blocks of 40 districts in 7 states are covered under the program. Since 1995-96 till 2006-7, 15,746 projects covering an area of 7.87 million hectare has been sanctioned. Another area development program, Integrated Wastelands Development Program (IWDP), was started in the year 1989-90. The projects under IWDP are sanctioned in areas that are not normally covered under DDP and DPAP. The program is being implemented in 470 districts of the country. Since 1995-96 till 2006-2007, 1,877 projects covering an area of 10.72 million hectare has been sanctioned. A technical committee under the chairmanship of Professor C.H. Hanumanta Rao was appointed in 1994 to appraise the impact of DPAP, DDP and suggest measures for improvement. Committee opined that programs have been implemented in a fragmented manner by different departments without any well-designed plans by involving local people. Except in a few places, the achievements have been suboptimal. Ecological degradation has been proceeding unabated in these areas, with reduced forest cover, reducing water table and shortage of drinking water, fuel and fodder. On the recommendations of Hanumanta Rao Committee, watershed guidelines were formulated and made effective from 1st April 1995. Since then, DPAP, DDP and IWDP, the three area development programs, are being implemented on watershed basis. Watershed guidelines were revised by Ministry of Rural Development in 2001 to make them more focused, transparent and suitable to local requirements. These guidelines provided for greater role of Panchayati Raj institutions, exit protocol and provision of credit facility from financial institutions to ensure higher value addition to the interventions. Guidelines for these programs were further revised with effect from 1st April 2003 and renamed as Haryali Guidelines. Under Haryali Guidelines, Gram Panchayats are empowered both physically and financially in the implementation of watershed projects at field level. Ministry of Rural Development set up another technical committee on DPAP, DDP and IWDP under the chairmanship of Shri S. Parthasarthi in 2005 to address major issues in watershed programs and recommend viable strategies and mechanisms for effective implementation of these programs. Committee report in 2006 analyzed a wide range of statistics to show that the dryland farming has suffered neglect even as irrigated agriculture appears to be hitting a plateau. The report concluded that the productivity of dryland agriculture needs to be developed if food security demands of the year 2020 are to be met. Report recommended that a greater focus of watershed development programs to increase productivity of lands in rain-fed areas might hold the key to meet the challenge of food security in years to come. Under the aegis of Planning Commission, National Rain-Fed Area Authority NRAA, in consultation with the concerned ministries, framed Common Guidelines 2008 for watershed programs for all ministries, departments, based on the Parthasarthi Committee report, other committees' observations and past experiences. Provisions in the Common Guidelines and the observations of the Parthasarthi Committee necessitated modifications in the watershed schemes of the Department of Land Resources. Accordingly, the three area development programs which the Department of Land Resources was implementing, that is DPAP, DDP and IWDP, have been integrated and consolidated into a single modified program called Integrated Watershed Management Program IWMP with effect from 26 February 2009. This consolidation is for optimum use of resources, sustainable outcomes and integrated planning. Salient features of IWMP include dedicated institutions with multidisciplinary experts at the state level. We have state level nodal agency as a dedicated institution at state level. At district level, we have watershed cell cum data center. At project level, we have project implementing agency. At village level, the dedicated institution for implementing IWMP is Watershed Committee. The other salient features include cluster approach. Average size of the project in IWMP is about 5,000 hectare. cost norms are rupees 12,000 per hectare in plains and rupees 15,000 hectare in difficult or hilly areas. Funding pattern is in the ratio of 90:10 between center and states. There are 3 installments in which the project is to be completed. The project has 3 phases: preparatory phase, works phase and consolidation and withdrawal phase. Project period is 4 to 7 years. Scientific planning, that is IT, remote sensing techniques, GIS facilities are used for planning, monitoring and evaluation of the projects. Detailed project report, that is DPR preparation. 1% of the project fund is earmarked towards preparation of DPR. We have entry point activities in which 4% of the project fund is earmarked. 5% of the project fund is earmarked towards institution and capacity building component. 9% of the project fund is earmarked for livelihood for assetless people and 10% for production system and micro enterprises. Monitoring and evaluation. 1% each of the project fund has been earmarked towards monitoring and evaluation. Delegation of power of sanction has been given to states. IWMP is a demand driven program. However, to cover all the states, a minimum tentative allocation of area is made by following a particular set of criteria, which include percentage of DPAP, DDP areas in the state to total DPAP and DDP areas in the country, percentage of treatable wastelands in the state to total treatable wastelands in the country, percentage of SC/ST population of the state to SC/ST population of the country, percentage of rain-fed area in the state to total cultivated area in the country, and 10% mandatory allocation is for the northeastern states. The states in turn prioritize watershed projects based on criteria like poverty index, actual wages, moisture index, productivity potential of the land, groundwater status, rain-fed agriculture area, degraded land, drinking water availability, percentage of small and marginal farmers, percentage of SC/ST population, contiguity to other watershed and cluster approach. For taking up new projects under IWMP, the states are required to submit State Perspective and Strategic Plan, that is SPSP, approved by the state level nodal agency. SPSP is a long-term plan to develop all the treatable watersheds in the state after excluding all untreatable areas, for example, area under assured irrigation, area already treated under various watershed programs, etc. Preparation of SPSP is a one-time exercise. After having prepared the SPSP, states prepare project-wise preliminary project reports, PPRs, for project area to be developed in a particular year. The PPRs include GIS based maps indicating area already covered under watershed programs of different departments, area proposed to be taken up under IWMP for a particular year, and plan for covering balanced treatable area. The PPRs approved by the SLNA are presented by the state before the steering committee at Government of India level under the chairmanship of Secretary, Department of Land Resources for appraisal and clearance. The steering committee has members from Planning Commission, National Rainfed Area Authority, technical experts from different scientific institutions, voluntary organizations, related department of the central and state governments. SLNAs have been delegated with powers of sanctioning projects as per the appraisal of the steering committee. On receipt of sanction from SLNA, Department of Land Resources releases 6% of the central share to SLNA for execution of the activities of the preparatory phase of the projects. Subsequent installments to the projects are released on receipt of proposals from SLNAs along with supporting documents. As I mentioned earlier that the IWMP projects are implemented in 3 phases. First phase is preparatory phase. Under the preparatory phase, entry point activities are undertaken to build basically rapport with local people. Works based on urgent needs of the local community such as revival of natural resources, availability of drinking water, augmenting groundwater, productivity enhancement of existing farming systems, etc. are taken. Community organization, that is formation of user groups, self-help groups and watershed committees are also an important component of this phase. Capacity building, 5% of the project cost is earmarked towards institution and capacity building and appropriate training programs for all the stakeholders on planning, implementation, livelihoods, micro enterprises through NGOs, government organizations and reputed institutions are undertaken. Detailed project report preparation, DPR. This is also a very important activity in the preparatory phase. This includes activities like collecting baseline data, PRA exercise, net planning, year-wise phasing out of activities, convergence possibilities and finally preparation of DPR. The DPR is approved by Gram Sabha. In watershed works, the second phase of the project implementation, the activities that are undertaken include soil and moisture conservation activities. These are contour farming, contour bunding, gully plugging, drainage line treatment, contour trenching, etc. Rainwater harvesting activities include activities like construction of farm ponds, check dams, anicuttes, percolation tanks, etc. Afforestation, horticulture and pasture development are also the important activities which are taken under IWMP. Livelihood activities, capacity building and awareness generation, encouraging people's participation are other important activities of this phase. The most important activity of the consolidation and withdrawal phase of the IWMP project is handing over of all the assets created in the project to the Gram Panchayat. A study titled Comprehensive Assessment of Watershed Programs in India was assigned to International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, ICRISAT, Hyderabad in 2008 to assess the impact of various watershed development programs in India. This study evaluated the impact of watershed programs with the help of 636 micro-level studies to get more authentic and realistic results. The study inter alia reported that soil loss of 1.1 ton per hectare per year was prevented due to intervention of the watershed program. Additional water storage capacity of about 38 hectare meter was created in a 500 hectare watershed as a result of intervention of watershed program. There was an increase of 52% in area under irrigation while the cropping intensity increased by 35.5%. Benefits of the watershed programs were more in the low